First thing we do, guys, we go to the bottom of this Speed Queen. There's 2 screws on the bottom. I take an 8mm, basically a 5/16 nut driver. I love these things. Very easy on the screws. You screw them out. There's just 2 screws here. We have a Speed Queen. We have 7 children, so we need a pretty heavy-duty machine to take care of our kids and their clothes. This is the model number if you're interested. Right there. Model AWN 432-8P113TW01. And the reason why I'm making this video is because we had about 15 firemen at our house this past Saturday. The last time I saw that many firemen in my house, it was my cousin Janari. She's beautiful. She was visiting from Italy. That's another story. But first thing first, this thing apparently caught on fire. My son called the fire department, and we'll go through what happened. Remember, first thing we do, pull out the plug. Okay, so I plugged in my light so you can see the inside of the machine better. This was smoking on Saturday, and all the smoke is backed up to our basement, and it filled the entire basement, so it did look like a fire. But what actually happened is the belt was burning. There is the belt. It's completely disintegrated in some spots. It actually looks burnt. As you can see there, how broken and ripped up, and it just, you can look at it, it actually looks like it was in a fire. Thank God it did not go on fire. But anyway, I'm not going to show you on this video what I did as far as replacing the belt. That's for another video. But the belt is behind this Speed Queen drain pump, as you see right here. And that's where that is. So in order to get the belt repaired, you have to remove this anyway. So I'll show you that, and I'll just show you a quick picture of the belt I put in. The reason why I have to change the drain pump, you will see in a second. The agitator started working. The belt was working fine. I did 1 load last night, and all of a sudden this drain pump started leaking, which can happen. And I didn't really know I should have changed it anyway, but it's cheap enough. Remember one thing, guys, if you're going to buy parts, get OEM, original equipment manufacturer. You don't want to have to go to change this again to save $10 or $15 on a part that is not original. You get some of these parts from other countries and they can break easily, and then you're back under it doing it again. So I got an original Speed Queen part, and the part number for the belt is 38174. That's the belt, 38174. And the drain pump is 201566P. And again, when you're searching on the internet, I usually do Amazon, you want to see the initials OEM, original equipment manufacturer. I'll go over this in a second, how to unclip the pump. All right, so all I have to do, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my nut driver. I'm going to take these 2 hoses off. I'd put a towel here. You're going to have some water run off. Hopefully your drum is dry and you were able to do it before it broke. I loosen this all the way up, and you want to pull this off because this is connected to the drain pump. And that's it. You slip this up. A little looser. And that's it. And you take this off and you'll see there's water coming out, which is fine. I have a towel here. It's not a big deal. There's not a lot of water in it. And then I pull this off, and then we go to step 2. Just keep them out of the way if you can. When you take these hoses off, remember, you may have some water in the tank. You can use your wet vac to get the water out. There's a little bit of water here. As you see, my towel's soaking wet. You could have just put the wet vac and suck the water out of both of these hoses. These hoses are in order, so it's important you don't confuse them, but they're sort of in order anyway, so you don't have to worry. The back one and the front one. Now, this impeller, believe it or not, at least on this model, has these clips on it. They can be a real pain. I took this off yesterday, and I'll explain to you in a second why. But you basically push this in here, and this has to clip out. Again, it's not that easy to do because you have to. So what I'm going to show you, I'm trying this now, and it didn't really work great yesterday. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So what I did is I took a little bit of a needle nose, and I put it on this like this, and I clipped it out. It's probably the easiest way to do it. Listen, there's 3 of these. That's easy. This one is not bad. Right there, same thing. There's a pain in the back. This one is a real pain. It's right in the back of the pump. You can feel it with your hand. I'm sorry it's hard to videotape it, but what I'm going to show you on is if you follow these 3 pieces, the prongs here, it'll be under that. You got to do it blindly. That's the only way you can take it off, is you're putting your hand in the back and you're punching it out like that. And I happen to get this one off this time. Yesterday, the first time I did it was not easy. That's the back one. That's the hardest. And then you have this one here that'll pop out too. You pop them out, and then I'll show you how to take the pump off. So I got all 3 clips off. Like I told you, 2 are not bad. The one in the back's a pain. Believe it or not, this is all that holds this in, along with these 2 belt clamps. Really doesn't hold it in, but it secures it a little more. So what you have to do on your machine, you got to kind of rock this back and forth to pop this out. Again, it's not that easy, and I'll show you why this one was harder yesterday. As you can see here, it's very hard to pop this out, but I got it out. Yesterday was much harder. It was the first time, and I'm going to show you why. Gotta move this other hose out of the way. And then what you do is you can lift the tank up just a little bit, and here's what you see. Look how burnt that is from Saturday. I should have replaced it. I really didn't know about it. Now the belt is behind this. As you see, the belt is right here, and it's on this drive shaft. When you look this up on the internet, this is called a drain pump. Not in my book. I would call this an impeller. That's basically what it is. There's no really electric to it. It's not really a pump per se. This shaft here is the drive shaft. And what it does, it goes inside this here, and there's an impeller inside, and the water from one hose comes in, and this gets it back out and takes it out of the machine. But now look at this one, how beat up that is compared to my brand new one. See the difference? So I believe this thing was leaking last night. You could see the play in it. This is brand new again. And remember, this part is, I believe I have it on the box over here, if you're looking up again, 201566P. And this is an original part. It's not a knockoff. It's Alliance or Speed Queen systems. What happened, I believe, in this pump is this seal in here probably broke, taking it off. It was so melded on, basically, from burning. The belt was burning, and what happened was this shaft was moving, and the belt wasn't moving. And I'm going to tell you why at the end of the story, why the belt was not moving. But because this pulley here was turning around and the belt was standing there, it was actually burning the belt out. And the belt, as you can see, is right below this. And then you see the thing. This really smells like it was in a fire almost. If you are going to change the belt, which we had to do yesterday, which I'm not going to really show you, you basically put the belt on, you push the idler arm, the idler pulley back, and you put this belt around. And that's all you have to really do. That wasn't as hard as I thought. And as you can see, I'm turning it, which is important for another fact I'm going to give you. You have to kind of turn the shaft to fit in there. It doesn't fit in any angle. You have to get it in straight. The second thing I want to tell you about is there's 3 prongs here. This literally just squeezes in up on top, and then you put the clips in. These 2 here are on the outside of the belt. It's hard to see this, but the third one, when you get it in here like this, you want to go in and make sure you're on the inside of the pulley. I'm now on the inside of the pulley. These 2, I'm not on the inside of the pulley. If you don't go on the inside of the pulley, this pulley belt will be actually rubbing against this, and you don't want that to happen, obviously. So these 2 go like this. You try to line it up as best you can, and then you got to get really low, flat, because this is not up in the air. And what you got to do, you got to get this lined up, and you got to try to get your holes lined up, and you got to get this lined up. Now watch what I do. You see as I'm pushing this on the pulley, on the, the main shaft there, it's not really lined up perfectly because you see it's not accepting it. So I have to move this pulley a tiny bit See how I move the shaft? Because it only goes in one way. So then you try it again, and then you get it, and then it'll push all the way up. There, you see now I lined it up. So what you got to do is move the pulley shaft to fit in here. This is not a circle, it's sort of a rectangle, the hole. And what I think that was happening is, as you see this water directional arrow here, I think this seal snapped last night, or it was just old and melted, and it started leaking after I put the belt in. And also this piece here is so corroded that the water, I think, was spritzing out of this. See this? Look at the play in it. And the impeller was shooting the water out here, and it was filling up into the machine. So now I have this in. As you can see, I'm holding it, snaps in. And now you have to put in these again. Remember, this is not so bad, but I'm going to give you a little trick here that I found out. See this here? That clipped in easy, right? It's a lot harder when you first take it out. The one in the back you can't see. So all I can tell you to do is look for this piece, which I'll show you on the old one. You see this piece here? You run your hand in the back, you're going to feel that piece. So with your hand, because it's completely blind, you want to put this clip like that and put it in the hole above it. You got to kind of just feel it out and then snap it in. Here you can see, the back you can't. So I was worried about that last night, but again, I said, let me just run my hand till I find this piece. And then I looked above it for a hole, which is the clip. It clips into the hole and snaps in. And this one is not so bad either, the same thing. This one's easy, see the hole there? And then you gotta clip it in, and you have to lift it up, and this snaps right in. And that is really the hardest part, is that back there. Remember, the third prong, very crucial. These two are on the outside of the pulley. See the pulley? Both outside of the pulley. This third one here goes inside the pulley belt, right here, the belt. It goes inside. If not, this would be rubbing against the pulley. So you have to get it, you could lift the machine up a little like I'm doing and stick this underneath first to get it inside. Then you can snap it in. Okay, so I got this last clip in. Again, it's blind. I would even take the glove off, I'll tell you the truth. The last thing you do, don't forget your clamps. This is the first one here. And you want to make sure you're on the plastic when you put this on. So you're going to get this on like this. Put this in. Okay. I'm in a very tight position here, so. All right, there you go. Push this on like that. And you don't want to be over here, guy. You want to be right on the plastic, or this will leak, as I found out yesterday. I kind of did it quickly. And you screw that tight. And then here's the last hose. By the way, I bent them out of the way. It's not a big deal. It does help to get them out of the way while you're doing this project. Slip this on the other drain pipe, which, again, I don't like calling this a drain pump, but it's really just an impeller. I'll loosen this up and I'll tighten it up. These are nice and tight. I'm going to check them again once I run it, and I'm going to plug it in with the cover off just to show you how the belt runs to see if everything is fine. Okay, I'm going to put it in, and now I'm going to put the spin cycle on. Great, perfect. Okay guys, I thought I'd never love to hear the sound of a washing machine. It is working perfectly. It's packed as usual. My wife is excited. There's 5 more loads to go in. But I think we accomplished what I set out to do. Hopefully there'll be no more water leaking and no burning smell. This is the accidental plumber checking out. I get into these things accidentally.